Hi everyone, welcome to the 3D Boost channel. Today we are starting a series of videos dedicated to modeling and texturing weapons. This is a free course where we will create a weapon like an MP5 and texture it. We will use Blender and Substance Painter, and we will also use Marmoset Toolbag and Rhythm UV, but you can manage without them. The main programs are Blender and Substance Painter. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video and are waiting for the next lessons. We will begin, as usual, with collecting references. You can find them on official websites like the MP5 manufacturer's website, Hector & Co. There, you can see different versions of modules and attachments for our weapon. It's also helpful to look for references on military websites dedicated to weapons, like this one. These are especially useful if we need different views of the weapon in close-up. This will help us create realistic textures and understand how different parts look. On this site you can find very detailed photographs of our weapons. You can also use resources like guns.com, Wikipedia, and others. If we want conceptual or sci-fi versions of weapons, we can look for references on Pinterest or ArtStation. Pinterest is especially convenient. For example, after choosing one model, similar ones are suggested at the bottom, like in this case, and you can continue your find. You can also find blueprints, projections, and views from different angles, which often help in modeling, like this AK. Another option is to use AI editors that can generate the weapon we need. For example, I will use Crea.ai as an example, where you can take a static concept and refine it. And I've got this futuristic submachine guns. It's also worth saying a few words about concepts and their role in game development. Usually, a 3D artist gets a general concept from a 2D artist or concept artist, which can include a side view and a few extra angles, like this. However, sometimes the concepts are quite simple and rough. For example, just one side view. In such cases, the 3D artist will fill in the missing parts based on their experience. In some studios, the concept artist may give only a rough sketch, and the 3D artist finish it to the required look, consulting the art director if needed. Why make a quick draft at all? It's needed so that the game designer can quickly get a working prototype of the weapon and test it in the game. For example, they can load the draft model into the engine, run through the level with it, check how it feels in the character's hands, test reloading animations, and decide if the model works for the final version or needs more work. For example, 3D artists also can make some drafts based on these pictures, for example, on this concept. No textures, no materials, just fast draft for game design. In smaller studios, the concept artists often create the concept from just one angle, and the 3D artist, if experienced, creates the final model based on that concept. Consulting with the art director when necessary. For example, concepts like this. The 3D artist make draft with materials, maybe with simple materials to test it in the engine. And when 3D artists have some questions about modules, he can consult with his concept artist or art lead. To gather concepts, we use the PureRef program. It's a very convenient tool. You can drag images right from the browser or desktop into it. You can scale images, rotate them, and flip them along axis. The program also supports an always-on top mode. If you turn it on, the PureRef window will stay on top of all other windows. Now, let's move on to finding the main reference for our project. As I mentioned, references can be found on Google, Wikipedia, and Weapon websites. But for our course, I suggest using a different approach. I will take the game Arena Breakout Infinite as the main reference. The weapon models in this game are really high quality, and I can create my MP5 reference from scratch. This way, we can see how different parts connect, how the upper and lower parts of the weapon are made, and then recreate them in model. You can use not only this game, but also others, like Call of Duty Warzone or Delta Force, where you can find nice weapon models too. I'm choosing the MP5 options, loading it with the necessary models and attachments, then taking screenshots to use as my main references. You can turn off the interface to get a better view of the weapon, pick the right angle and take screenshots. I add the screenshot to my PureRef file. On the right, I have elements found on other resources I mentioned earlier. Some from Pinterest, some from Google, and some from weapon websites. But the main references will be the Arena Breakout screenshots because they are detailed and show the weapon from different angles. I group them: fully modified weapon, partially modified, and base version. These are the references I will use for modeling. Next, I'm going to use Trellis on Hugging Face Spaces. It's a service where I can create a 3D model from a 2D image. Okay, I will upload my main side view screenshot into Trellis and click Generate. Let's try to generate a draft. I'm doing this so that I have the correct dimensions in Blender, especially regarding the widths in objects relative to each other, and so on. As we can see, there is a small issue, so I have opened Photoshop and I am going to select the object more precisely, remove the background and add an alpha channel, as Trellis requires. If there is a background, Trellis will remove it using its algorithm, but sometimes it's not accurate. So in Photoshop I refine the selection with the lasso tool. I hold Shift to add to the selection or Alt to remove part of it. Then I create the alpha channel. I go to the Channels tab next to Layers in Photoshop, create a new alpha channel and fill it with white. This is necessary for Trellis to work correctly. After that, I export the image as TIFF and regenerate my model in Trellis. This time it looks better. Yeah, there is a small artifact on the magazine, but overall the width looks good. Some things don't match, like the stock axis versus the two rails, but overall the gun gives me a good starting understanding of the size and proportion. I open Blender. Before we start, I want to show you that I'm using some add-ons, but don't worry, everything can be done in default vanilla Blender. You will often see view jumps when I press Ctrl space to align the viewport to front, side, etc. This is similar to pressing 1, 3, 7 on the numpad. I use the Meshing Tools add-on for this. I also have the Box Cutter add-on, which allows quickly make boolean cuts. Like this. If you don't have it, no problem. You can use the standard boolean modifier in Blender. Create two cubes, then in Modifier step select boolean, set it to difference and hide the cut object. like this. This is the same as my add-on, but a little slower. Box Cutter also automatically creates a collection for the cut objects, cutters, and hides them, which is convenient. The built-in Bool Tool add-on in Blender gives almost the same functionality. In the N panel, you can choose difference and subtract the object from another. A collection is created automatically and the cut object is hidden. Sometimes I will quickly use other modifiers, like bevel. This is a standard modifier in the modifiers tab. I also use the array modifier via the add-on context menu, but you can add it manually. Essentially, everything I do with add-ons can be repeated in vanilla Blender, just with a few extra steps. Okay, we have prepared everything we need for the next lesson, where we will start creating the weapon draft. Today, we learned where to find references and how to organize them conveniently with ViewRef. We also discussed which references are commonly used in game dev and what a 3D artist can expect from concept artist. We learned how to create quick 3D draft into release to better understand size and proportions. Finally, we talk about the add-ons and software we will use in this course. In the next lesson, we will start making the draft based on our references. You've been on the 3D Boost channel. Like, subscribe, and see you in the second lesson, where we'll create the MP5 draft.